Hey there everyone, it's MousePlays and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be testing out different methods for improving your performance on Cities Skylines 2 and to see if they actually work. Quickly, I'm going to go through the specs of my computer. I have an Intel Core i5-13500, a GTX 1080, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and my system is running off of a 2TB NVMe SSD. Currently, the screen that you're looking at is running at 1440p, so 2560 by 1440 pixels. And you can see that on the title screen with the base settings, we haven't changed anything yet. We're at 44 frames per second. And you can see that our GPU is at 82 degrees Celsius and 100% usage. So today we're going to be using three sources. First, we're going to be using the official Paradox guide to improving performance. Then we're going to use this IGN guide to see if anything's different. And then finally, we're going to use this Reddit thread, which is the most in-depth version. So without further ado, let's get started. So looking at our first step here, we're going to see virtual texturing. Now, as you can see, my virtual texturing is already finished just because I've been doing the intro and all that, and it's already finished past that. So we don't have to worry about this as it's already finished processing. And these are the recommended settings that they suggest. They suggest that we lower our resolution to 1920 by 1080. Now the thing with this is my monitor is a 1440p monitor. If I reduce it down to 1080p, it's going to look really blurry and all that. So even though I will be doing it because it is recommended in the guide, I don't suggest doing it yourself because you will lose a lot of the quality of your monitor if you reduce your resolution. The game will just not look good depending on what your monitor is. So my suggestion is always stick to the native resolution of your monitor. Don't lower it any further. But for the terms of this episode, we're just going to do it just because that's what's listed in the guide. So we're going to take it down to 1920 by 1080 at 165 Hertz. And you can see by doing that it already got blurry. It is also suggested that we disable depth of field mode. This is definitely something I would recommend. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Then we'll just go ahead and set depth of field mode to disabled. And you can see just by doing those two things, we're already at an FPS of around 63. Next, it's suggested that we disable volumetrics. Volumetrics is basically your clouds. That's it. So really, it doesn't make a difference just because you'll always be looking at your city from top down. So let's go ahead and disable that right now. You can see doing that got us up to 87 FPS, so we're definitely going up. And then it gives us some suggestions with motion blur, depth of field, and dynamic resolution. They will not always improve your performance, but we're just going to go with them for now. So we're going to disable depth of field quality. We're going to disable motion blur. And then finally, we're going to disable dynamic resolution. We've gone from about 40 FPS to around 96. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start a new game. We're just going to pick a random map. We'll choose Tampier. We'll select the map. Everything's fine. And then we'll start our game. And you can see that just on the base game, we are only running at around 40 FPS, which is not great. And we just had a little dip there. Loading in all the map looks to make it a little bit better, but again, 40 FPS is not great for a game. I would recommend you should always try to have 60. 60 is going to be your benchmark just because it looks better with your eyes. Anything above 60 you really can't tell the difference, but when you get down to 44 you can tell that there's a little bit of a difference. Technically your eyes only run at 30 FPS, but having that additional bump makes it so any little drops you can't really notice. Next we're going to be going through IGN's guide to increase performance. Now they just keep it to a concise list here, so we're just going to go through basically everything on this list and change it all if we haven't done it yet. First, we're going to turn VSync on. Next, we're going to turn anti-aliasing quality to low SMAA. Cloud quality settings to disabled. Then fog quality settings to disabled. Ambient occlusion quality to low. Global illumination quality to low. Reflections quality to low. We're going to turn shadow quality to low. We're going to turn terrain quality settings to low. We're going to turn water quality settings to low. We're going to turn level of detail to very low. We're going to turn animation quality to medium. And finally, texture quality settings to low. Overall, these changes that we just made have made it to 63 FPS as our frame rate. And you can see that our game is actually running fairly well. But we are getting some weird quality issues. You can see that for some reason we've got all these little reflective blocks on the ground. When I move, it gets pretty shaky, and overall it's just not an appealing look to the game. And you can see as I get closer to the ground, our frame rate actually goes down. We're about 40 by zooming into all these trees. And I don't know if you saw it there, but my monitor just gave out. That's how bad this is. So overall, while the frame rate is higher, I don't know if it's an issue with my graphics card or the game. I would say the game, because it's forming a lot of small blocks around that were not there before. So while the IGN guide did improve our performance in the sense of FPS, it did cause a lot of glitches in the world. Looking at this Reddit thread, I think the only difference is that it's actually telling us to turn off VSync. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is turn off VSync and see if that fixes anything. And you can see while our game is definitely a little bit better, you can see that the block still exists in the floor. But if I zoom into the world, it doesn't get as choppy anymore. You can see we're running at about 40 FPS. Ooh, that was a big frame drop there. So really, that really didn't change anything for us. While the overall frame rate is higher, it is definitely a lot more unstable with these settings on. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. This was really just an experiment to see how bad this game is with performance and to see what you can do to improve. Not everyone has these crazy computers, including me. I still have a 1080. Game developers should not be tailoring to those people who have high-end hardware. You should still be able to manageably play the game at your hardware, even if you're just a couple years old. I get my situation is definitely much different, but game developers should not be tailoring their products for the highest of high-end products. You should get amazing performance with those, not adequate performance. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like to see next. I'm Mouse Plays, it's been magical, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.